Woohoo! Can you believe this? I am Allison Lee, your host here at craftcast.com and today's Fun at One with Ms. Julia Ray, which will be fabulous. But I want to tell you a bunch of stuff first. Okay, so guess what? Today is number 15 of these. That's 15 weeks straight we've been doing Fun at Ones, which has been fabulous. Just so you know, we're taking a break. Probably it'll be 2 weeks because we are working at some behind the scenes stuff, but not to say we also don't have 2 classes a week anyway, paid for classes, but make sure and use your coupon code, which I'll just show you here. I'm just going to show off a bunch of stuff, you guys. Make sure I'm sure you all know it. We just extended the coupon code because we need it right now, period. Spring 2020. Yeah, there's the logo. Just wanted to show you. But first, don't forget also Cool Tools. They've been a fabulous sponsor sponsoring this show because they have I don't know, 90% of the supplies we use. B, they're fabulous. They're lovely. They have great customer service. They fill the orders. I only like to work with people like us. It's just like you want to work with people who, do the same as you do. So they understand artists. It's great. So definitely check out Cool Tools. They have like all kinds of stuff, sort of crazy, and videos. And then so we'll be putting Fun at One just off for probably 2 weeks to just get through some technical stuff. Oh, that's what I want to tell you. So because we've all gotten used to Zooms. How many people are doing Zooms? Just type in your question box there. That's just become like a normal word in everyone's vocabulary now. And yeah, Zoom. Yeah, everyone's using Zoom. Right. Okay. There's lots of other ones coming up too. Zoom got very popular and they weren't even, they had lots of glitches like everything. They had perfect timing for when they came out. So there's that. And there's a bunch of others. And we are looking into who's going to have the best way to show desktop, like I do for all of you, videos from the desktop. Because depending on Wi-Fi, depending on your Wi-Fi, depending on the internet gods of the day, it only can show as fast as possible that the system will allow. So GoToWebinar does not have the ability to show full 30 frames per second, but none of them yet really do either. So anyway, I'm looking at all of them, but I don't want to make a big change for all of us for something that only looks a slight bit better, but then has all these other glitches. So that's one of the things we're going to be working on. I don't want to bore you with technical stuff. In the next few weeks is running all kinds of tests because of how it's out there. I love this platform too, Brownon, because I like the interaction. I don't want to give up what works for us. So that's what's going on there. But we have lots of classes coming up. So let me just quickly show you these. Coming up this weekend is Hadar's Room of the View. Hadar is another one of these, like Julia. These are master people teaching amazing classes. You can check that out. Then coming up is Robert Dancic showing us resins, which if you've wanted to get into resins, definitely do this because you get a huge understanding of everything. And he has a project in a ring. But it really explains a lot. And you know how Robert gets. He's the mad professor. So you just learn things you never thought was possible. And then Ms. Tin Apple will be showing us, I love this necklace that she had on social media. Both of them, actually. And so I asked her, please show us all how to make that. I think this is a great way to start with polymer clay. You could add metal clay things into this, especially the project today. But I think it's really fun. So she's going to be showing us all of that. Here's the other resin class still coming up, which is those. Is it in there or is that one big crystal? These are the kind of things you can use the Swarovski flatback crystals for. Those are those bracelets that you were just talking about. So JJ's saying a new teacher for us. It's just darn pretty. And she shows us how to make all of those. Anka's back showing how to make these beautiful beads. That's what it was in the last Fun at One was JJ and Anka. And Anka showed how she does her hollow lentil bead, which was fabulous. And she sold those little wooden balls, which I thought was great to make it. Those are all you can sign up now. These are hot off the press, not ready just yet to sign up for. But Ms. Cindy Pope is going to show us how to do cut and print vinyl transfer for you can put it on anything you want. She'll show us how to do that mandala. She was making up T-shirts, fun stuff. More ways to use your Cricut and Silhouette machines. Who on here is into using their Cricut and Silhouette machines too? Excuse me, let me just cough 1 second. Okay, that's better. All right, so here, look at that. Look at that. That's the Alicia Hart's. I just got this morning. That's the sample of what she'll be showing. Now, you could have it be a baby's book, a wedding journal, anything, but she'll be showing how to do that. I love that. And Cindy Pope will also be showing how to do, this is her Boot Camp 2020, sort of a recap of what more you can do on your Silhouette and Curio machine. So that's what's coming up, and there's even more. Just saying. Just saying, a lot of good stuff. All right, now I'm going to brag about today's teacher. This was Julia Ray's last class. These were the summertime metal clay charms. This class is fabulous. Julia, did we have a bonus on here? What was our bonus? Oh, I know, setting the stones right into it and making the half drilled.
Yeah, the half drilled beads, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everyone raved about this class too. So even if Julie wanted it to be sort of beginner, it is because I could do it, but it's also, people said how much they learned. Fabulous class. This is another one of her classes. All these links are in your handout too, if you want to check them out. This was going organic, setting stones, another great techniques, things you would learn that you hadn't thought of. This is her hand coloring class. I'm just grabbing some things. She also has a hand molded pods. I mean, so totally cool. So I am thrilled that Ms. Julia Ray came on today to lead us through some fun things. We have, she's going to talk about AMCAW. You all need to know about that if you don't. Really important. And she's also going to show us making a rolled up beads, which are my favorite. I'll show you. I even tried making some. But let us start off with, let me pull my notes. I think I said everything that I needed to say. Yes. So yeah, Julia, it's your turn.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Hello, everybody. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is this piece that I made for the Project Hope that Holly Gage put up, and it was all about, for artists from all kinds of different disciplines. It wasn't just about metal clay, to come together and to make a piece that was about hope in this time we've been living through. So I'm going to talk about how I made this piece. I didn't expect to be talking about it, so it was sort of the pictures that you're going to see are just process shots that I took as I went along, because during this whole time I've been, talking to my mum, like I guess a lot of you are, and talking to my mum daily, and she went along with me on this. So in the creation of this piece, and every day I would send her my sort of process shots. So here you go. This is a quick video that I made of the piece, so you can see the size of it a little bit more, the scale of it, the depth of it, which you don't really get. And I put this legend across the top. I'll talk about that in a minute. And it's got this edge, this interrupted edge around the top, which I thought just made it a little bit more interesting. So easy to do in metal clay as well. And then we've got all the little people on it. And in the handout, I put a little bit more about the story of that. But it's a piece for me that it's all about really when we get out of lockdown, when we all meet again, and we can hug people and all that kind of thing. So you can see all my little people here. They're all in little groups. So I've got a little couple at the back, a couple in the front. These are two brothers. I in my mind, they're two brothers doing a high five together, seeing each other after being away.
Yeah.
And I've got a little family at the back here, who with a child. There's a little child in the front, and then this is Granny and Granddad, and there's a little child in front running up to them. It's kind of tricky to see, but he's just running up to them, and she's bending down to give him a hug, which is, I know, again, on a lot of people's minds. Now, the back here, I wanted to put something on the back that was a little bit more sort of uplifting, I guess, and I'll talk more about this. And what you can see here is the along the bottom, I just put this sort of grassy area here. Underneath, this is the bottom of it, so you can see it all around. And it gives, as I say, it gives you just a little bit more scope for it. The tiny gold balls on here at the bottom of the rainbow were the last thing I added effectively. And then we've got a little citrine here, and the citrine is set in a setting that is actually we covered in the fire in place stone setting class. So it's that setting that that the citrine's set in.
I have no words. That is just genius. I can't even imagine. All right, so I know you're going to walk us through here some pictures of how you did it.
So what you have here is you've got the starting of it, and you can see here that what I've got is I've got a square back. So it started with the square back piece that is textured back and front with sort of a kind of tree sort of theme. And then I put a platform across the bottom. So there's a straight platform that goes across the bottom on which I'm going to put all of the people. So at this stage of the game, this is my thinking. A couple of the side bits are sort of trees, so tree elements that frame the whole piece. And then the piece across the top that has the legend on. I went through quite a lot of different sayings, I suppose, that you could use before I settled on I know we'll meet again some sunny day, which is from a song of hope in the UK that's been used since the Second World War. So this kind of felt right to me. And then we've got the elements here that are the rainbow, and the rainbow has been used all over the UK. A lot of children who were sheltering at home right at the beginning, definitely, were all drawing rainbows to put on the windows and things like that. So it became a little bit of a symbol for us. So the square back has this top semicircular piece, and it kind of cut out a very small aperture for the square to slide up into, so that I had contact not just across the top but also slightly down the sides. Is everybody getting what I mean by that?
Like, do you mean right in here, Julia, then? Do you see my little, probably can't see my mouse, it's not that big.
That's it. Yeah,
okay.
That's it. That's it. Just at the top. So I cut it straight across, but then I just filed in so that it sat down onto the square back. And you can see also here, I thought I was going to have these branch elements coming up the center, and I actually stuck them in. But then when I started to make the people, I decided actually no, there's too much going on there, so I took them off, which was kind of tricky because I'd already stuck them on. But you know, I guess a little bit of water in there and a little bit of patience, which is anybody who knows me knows my patience muscle can be a little bit lacking at time from time to time. But just, you know, easing it off with a little bit of water to loosen it up. And so this was my first part, and I put the people on just to see how they would look scale wise and everything. So this was the first part. The top, the legend and the rainbow were made from with a photopolymer plate. So the next image here, this is the photopolymer plate that I made with the legend and the rainbow on. So this then translated into I used the image pack system for this because my photopolymer plates were in my studio, which I couldn't get into at that time. So I had to buy the photopolymer plate kit, and now I've got more things to play with.
I think we even have. I think Pam Ace did a free one. We have how to use those packs if people want to learn. There's a whole thing. Put it on the list, right, Julia?
Absolutely, yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I mean, they're a little more messy, I think, than the photopolymer, you know, the photopolymer plates that are on plastic backs or metal backs.
Okay.
But it did the job. I mean, it did the job. That was the main thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I made that, and then I used that to create that top piece. This is the it says a tearaway texture that I actually made on a class for Celie Fago a couple of years ago now. I went out and had a class at her studio, while I was in America in Vermont, and so I made this while I was on that class, and I thought this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect for what I wanted here. I wanted an outside kind of scene, and at the side here you've got the little tendrils that I made. These are PMC Flex, so these are made in PMC Flex. And these are the branches that come up the side. So I made quite a few of them and let them dry, and then they were stuck into place. So this is a sort of a little bit more progress on the piece. And so what you can see here now is I've started to put the people on, and each of the people was put onto a little platform. Each of the little groups were put onto a platform, which was made made using a mold that I'd done quite a while ago of some plants. Quite heavy, they're quite thick kind of plants, and I've made these molds, and I pushed little bits of this into the molds, pulled them off, and they're very organic. I mean, a lot of my work is quite, leans towards the organic. So they are rough edges and things like that, but I wanted them to look like they were, were part of a forest floor maybe, or a park or something like that. And in the front here, you can see there's a little bird right at the bottom, right hand corner. He ends up at the top where the rainbow is. And there's a little boy running. So the little running boy right at the bottom there, he then sticks on in front of the grandparents. But I didn't do him until the very end because he's so fragile at the front there that I knew I was going to keep knocking him off. So there was just no point. So the children are the trickiest of these little people to make because they are so tiny, and the little arms and legs are really easy to knock off. So I know very well how to create those arms and legs again using syringe clay because
I can't even imagine. How long did this take you? This whole piece?
It took me, I would say probably between 3 and 5 hours a day for a week. So because PMC Flex it doesn't like being heated to be dried, it loses its flexibility. I was letting the whole thing dry naturally, so everything pretty much was being dried naturally. The people are made out of flex as well, so that I can flex them a little bit if I need to, in terms of how they bend and how their arms are moving and things like that. Sometimes I will actually put the arms on with a syringe or even with a piece of lump clay, but sometimes they're bits of them, like the legs and the bottoms of the torso and things like that, sometimes are made from a mold. So it just depends on how they're going together. But it was drying time really, and I had to step away from it and let it dry on its own quite a lot of the time. But yeah, it was a long process, but it wasn't. I wanted to make it in a slow and measured way because I wasn't really up against a terribly big deadline or anything like that. And I wanted to make sure that I got it right. And it was it was cathartic for me to make it, and it was lovely to share it with my mum every day. So so it was all in all, it came at just the right time. I think Holly, when Holly put it out, it was just the right time for me, certainly personally.
Yeah, it's lovely. Okay, so now here's some of your molds.
Yeah, so these are the molds that I made, and you can see these are. I think these were something like heather or something like that, if I remember rightly. And they're quite small, so you can see these little bits that I made. I just pushed little bits in, and there was no nuance with them. I just squished them in, and popped them out and let them dry, and then used them as I needed to. And I used a craft knife just to cut them into the sort of shapes and sizes that I needed. So I have still got quite a lot of these bits and pieces left, but that's normal for me. I've got loads of components hanging about. So you can see this is a little bit more of an evolution of the piece, and I quite like the fact that they are on different levels, and coming out, the people are coming out on different levels on the piece. That appeals to me, that kind of thing. Towards the back, you've got the little pods that I make with a syringe again. And again, I think we did this. This again was in the fire and place stone setting, the organic settings. That just making these little blobs with the syringe, and then creating a little pod. Really simple to do, but they are quite effective, and I just love doing them, and I have to stop myself from doing too many of them, because otherwise I just get completely over podded on pieces. But it was fun to do.
No, I recognize that from your class. It worked well.
Yeah. So here are some of the little people that were hanging around. These are some that I had left over. So here you can see the kind of evolution of them, I suppose. You've got some bits of bodies here. You've got some people sitting down. You've got fronts of people. And all of the people that are on this are three-dimensional, same as I did with my chalice. When I made the chalice, all the people on there are three-dimensional, so you can look at them from all the way around. They've got backs and fronts and backs and heads and everything. So so that they're a little tricky to make, but they take a while to make, but they are quite fun to make. And these are all left over, so that I'll be using them for something else. So this is a bit of a close-up of some of the people that I had stuck on.
You really get their feeling of movement and everything too. You really captured it.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's the idea, and their little story. So that the people on the extreme left here. When my mum first saw it from a bit of a distance, she said, "Is she washing his hair? Is that what that's about?" Because everybody was going on about, hair washing was, and hairdresser was the thing. I said, "No, she's just got her hands resting on his shoulders." So she's just kind of, there supporting him. And then there's a couple at the back. Old friends meeting is the way I sort of thought about them, and the two brothers high-fiving. But you can see here a little bit more of the detail. There's a little log at the front that the man on the left is sitting on, and I put a little stone on the front. I wanted to put a little stone on the front, a little pink stone. It kind of, we all I guess associate sort of a pink with love. And although I was going to use a citrine for the sun, which is how in the main stone in the piece, I wanted to add a little bit of love into there. So this is the other end. So here you can see the starting of the little family there all together. And then the grandma who's leaning forward. So she's just leaning forward. She's got a hat on. She's just leaning forward. And she's going to be waiting for the little boy to come up to her with the granddad on the side. So again, you can see a little bit more. You can see the pods at the back a little bit closer.
I love that. I love her hat.
Yeah, it's very cool. So now I've got a bit more. So you can see now I've added some detail into the trees. I was thinking about putting leaves on the trees, but I decided that was just too much. It was too heavy. So what I've put is I put lots of little kind of nubs on the trees. And again, these are done with syringe. Really simple, but it just gives them a little bit more feature. And because these are PMC Flex, I was moving them around as I was evolving the piece, and so the final piece, finally, they are all actually coming in rather than sticking out in this way, and that was part of the evolution of the piece. I certainly didn't have a finished item in my head when I started it. There was no, I knew I wanted to convey and what I was going to use, but I certainly didn't have an overall design. It really did evolve as I went along. And so here, what I've also put is I've just got the star in the center, which is going to be behind where the stone setting is. And this stone setting is one of the stone settings that we used in the fire and place stones class. Yeah. So that's what that's for. I wanted it to be, as I would obviously got to grab the stone, but I wanted to be as subtle as possible not to take away from the citrine.
Unbelievable. Lots of questions coming up. Did you carve all the characters? Was a lot of carving involved with those?
It's a combination of things. It's a combination of molding, and of syringe work, and some there's certainly some carving and some knife work that goes on
Mm-hmm.
when you're putting a back and a front together. There's certainly quite a bit of work that's then required in making sure that the joins don't, the joins are blended in. I do quite a bit of wet filing, so with a paintbrush, just smoothing,
Mm-hmm.
and because getting any sort of abrasive in there can be really quite tricky with things that are this small. So I try and avoid using the abrasives if I can. It's quite I mean, I cut the sanding sponges right down,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I'll use a little bit of sandpaper if I really need to get like between legs, inside legs and things like that are quite tricky. But yeah, it's a combination of different things that I use depending on what I'm trying to achieve at the end of it, where arms and legs are going and that sort of thing.
It is truly genius how you got so much movement and character into all of them. I can't even imagine. Really beautiful. Okay, so here's the back.
Yeah, so on the back, um, I wanted to put something that was a little bit stained glass window like. And so I have a template which is in the next image. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And on the inside of these, the apertures in this, I've just put more of the same the molded elements that I put for the grass elements on the front.
Mm.
So just so there was a little bit of depth in there, and a little bit of some interest in there. And these are then coloured afterwards. But this is and this also that just serves to cover the join at the back of the two pieces. So this is a template that you can see is from Art Clay World, and it's the very centre of this just looked perfect to me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to be made into what I was envisaging. This sort of stained glass window, the size was perfect, the shape was perfect, so that's what I used for that. So I didn't have an 8mm citrine in stock. So in
I'm
order to get
shocked,
everything,
Julia, that you were
I know. I just don't try hard enough. I know that.
really.
Obviously. No, absolutely. So what I decided I did have, the 8mm pink one. So I thought, right, I'm going to make it around the 8mm pink, and I ordered the 8mm citrine, and just had my fingers crossed that it would arrive on time. But that just gave me the size that I needed. The pink one gave me the size. So this was an image that just helped to get it all
Mm-hmm.
together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now this one is getting very near now to the final piece. And one of the things that my mum noticed was that the the part on the right hand side
Mm-hmm.
where the little family are was kind of sitting in space. And she said it looks odd. It was throwing her eye. So I then put a piece of the grass coming down, so it's a smooth line that comes down from those people
Mm-hmm.
where the little boy is running.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of the last things I put on there, just to blend that in, and it makes the line much better. And it was just really nice to have somebody else looking at
Mm-hmm.
it,
Mm-hmm.
and giving that sort of comment where her eye was going was useful for me to know, because when you're close to things, and when you're making things, you can get really blind to some of
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
things. So having that was really useful. And the little boy went on the front, and then it was kind of ready to go.
Ay, ay, ay.
So the back also, I just had to put the bails on. So I wanted to have it, when it hangs absolutely straight, and just having a single bail wouldn't have done the trick here. So I have a bail on each end, and that means that the chain goes across the back, and the line is nice when it's hanging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and here you can see along the bottom join, I had at this point I hadn't put anything along there. Just before I put it in the kiln, I looked at it again. I thought, do you know what? That actually needs some grass just along the bottom line there. And so I took it out of the kiln again before I started. It was just one of those, just one last thing here just
Mm-hmm.
needed. And I just put some of those little molded elements along the bottom of the back,
Mm-hmm.
and it just finished it off for me. That was the finishing off of it.
And then this is what came out. Unreal.
Indeed. So it was patinaed with just a liver of sulfur patina, and then the rainbow is resin. It's UV resin,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about three coats of UV resin
Mm-hmm.
in there. The last thing that I put on were the little gold balls, and I didn't have any gold balls at home. So, but what I did have was some K&B foil. So what I did was I melted the K&B foil into tiny balls.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's 24 karat K&B foil torn up into little pieces, and I melted them, and then they went on. They were the final thing that went on once all of the colouring was done and all that sort of thing. So that was just one of those things. It's like it needs something. It needs some gold on it. That was the only thing I had with me.
That was genius. So the kombu foil just granulated like regular gold if you were melting it into a granule?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was just I just tore it up and squished it up into into little
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
little lumps,
Mm-hmm.
and then blasted it with a torch
Mm-hmm.
until it melted, and then looked at the size of it because there was no scientific brain thought going into what size is that scrunched up piece of gold going to
Mm-hmm.
make. So
Mm-hmm.
I just graduated them and attached them with resin again. Just put them on with resin.
Oh,
Um,
great.
so, uh, but I was pleased with the outcome of it, definitely.
Oh, and here's the back.
Yeah. So this was alcohol inks. So I use alcohol inks to add the colours in here, and I had toyed with the idea of putting alcohol inks on on all of the grass elements on the front. But I did a bit of it. I did a little bit, and I decided, you know what, that's not working for me. So I got it off again with a cotton bud. But you can see there's a very small amount of colour just on the grass that goes along the bottom here.
Mm-hmm.
I've just put a few little dots of colour in there, but on the front I've left it just with the colour on the rainbow, because it was too distracting to have any more colour on the front. I wanted the people to be front and center effectively, and the color was too distracting. But yeah, so the alcohol inks I used, and we cover that in my adding color class,
That's what I
using the
thought.
alcohol ink.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
If you want to color
yeah,
clay, get that class, everyone. It's really genius. It looks so much like a stained glass window. This piece is just overwhelming. Were you like had a moment of and done at the end of that when it came out? I mean, that's a
yeah,
major, yeah.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, the most tricky thing, the trickiest thing about it really was polishing it, because trying to get behind all of those little people and polish them, and polish,
Yeah, I
knock
don't.
back
Yeah,
the liver of sulfur.
yeah.
Oh, it was a nightmare. It was
I
a
can't
total
even
nightmare.
imagine.
It was really difficult,
I can't
but I
even
got there.
imagine.
I got there.
I'm just happy that all of a sudden I said, "Wait, I have some of that old kombu sheet. I could make balls." That's what I've come away with. I could maybe do that.
Good. Well, at
Yes,
least if you've got one
I
thing, if you
did.
take one
I
thing
did.
away from it,
I
cool,
did. That is
lovely.
right. Fabulous. I know she's crazy with unbelievable skills. Paul just wants to know what the dimensions are.
Yeah, it is 8 centimeters by 7 centimeters. It weighs 105 grams.
I know it is phenomenal. Okay, so there. Everyone go off and make that this afternoon. It is inspiration how she did everything. I don't even know. All right, next. I asked Julia to come on and talk about AMCAW because who's joined on here? If you're a metal clay artist, I'm just going to tell you, just join at the end. The information will be there. I know, Katie, you are. Who else? Are there people on here? You remember Monica? Okay, great. You've joined Barbara. Great. Star. Oh, we have lots of people who have joined here. You just renewed.
Great.
Yay. If you haven't joined, seriously, do it. Heidi, you joined. Okay, because you'll get so many great things. Yeah, it's just one of those things. If this is your hobby, you want to join. Diane, you're a charter member. Yay. Oh, lots of members on here. Okay. Julie's going to walk us through what you get for people who are not familiar. So let's just let everyone know
Okay,
about it.
so this is just a little bit of the history. It was incorporated in June 2018, and it got the 501c3 nonprofit status in 2019. So it took a while, it took about a year for us to get the status, but we got there, and we are completely volunteer led. So there are 50 volunteers, around 50 volunteers working across the 10 committees. 15-person board and a 4-person executive board. And I'm on the executive board now. I was invited onto the board most recently. It's run by metal clay people for metal clay people. So everything we do is all about the promotion of metal clay as a medium and the promotion of metal clay artists generally. Currently, we're looking at around 500 members, and it's growing. And so yeah, as Alison said, join up.
Oh yeah, just join.
Good, great. So in our first 2 years, I think we've had some really great achievements in the first 2 years. So we have a professional website constantly being updated, and it has a private members area. So there are certain things that are only available for members. There's 2 artist challenges a year, and the prizes that we've had have been really fantastic. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later. There's a calendar of exceptional metal clay work. We did that first last year, and we're doing it again this year. We got a conference planned for May 2021, and there are virtual guild meetings every quarter. We've got social media presence on Facebook and Instagram. We have a public Facebook page and a private members page. And we just recently launched the artist showroom and the business directory. I'm going to talk about all of these in a little bit more detail. And finally, we're currently in the throes of building a learning centre.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Lots happening. Yeah.
And you have a virtual guild meeting coming up, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. What's the topic of yours? I know you sent it to me. I'm going to look at it.
I'm going to talk about it later on.
Okay, good. All right.
Yep, I'm going to cover it. I'm just going to quickly go through the artist challenges. The first one we had in spring 2019 was Flash on Fire. And we had 3 categories for winners on this, beginners, intermediate and advanced. These images that you're going to see are all taken from the AMCAW website. So you can have a look at all of the winners for all of our challenges. And they're going to be staying on the website. So this was the first one. And we also have a People's Choice Award. So once we've had this category awards, and they're all juries, they're all there's a professional jury that picks the winners. We then look at the People's Choice, and that's an open vote from the general public. So this was our first year.
Very cool.
Okay. Now, the second one was Sea and Sky. The theme was Sea and Sky. That was in the fall of 2019. And we changed the categories in 2019 to be jewellery and non-jewellery. So it was a little bit different. These are the winners of that year. And again, we had the People's Choice. But we also introduced this year the certificates of merit. So what we decided was that we would have the people that got almost as many points as the winners, the people that just came underneath the winners in terms of the jury marks that were given to them, we have awarded a certificate of merit to, and that's been very popular, and that's meant that people have got something that they can say, they didn't win, but they've got a certificate of merit.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
Yeah, and so what we did on the second challenge was we just had the certificate of merit winners go into the People's Choice. So that meant that that they then were the people who put forward. That's fine.
God, okay. And all those people, I think you get inspired just looking at everyone's work too. That's what's amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then Hidden Worlds ran spring this year. What we did was we went back to beginner, intermediate, and advanced, because what we found was people wanted to be to be judged, I guess, against their peers rather than being judged against every level. So and this is going to be our model from now on. It'll be beginner category, intermediate category, and advanced category, and the artists themselves, when they submit, can decide which category do I fit into. And so we have 3 winners for that. And then we had certificates of merit again.
I need the pre-beginner category.
So this time we only had 5 certificates of merit. There's no number. We haven't put any number on those. It depends on their score, on the scores really, and how closely they come to the winners. So here we have the 5 certificate of merit winners here, and then we have the overall People's Choice winner. So that's the sort of the makeup of the challenges. And we're also, to the artists, if you go on to the next image, Alison, what we're also doing now is we're giving the winners and the Certificate of Merit Awards winners some digital certificates that they can use themselves. So these are sent out to them once they've got into those categories, if they've won or if they've got a certificate of merit, so that they can use these in their own social media and on their websites and things like that, as a sort of a lasting certificate out in the world to say that they won.
It feels good to have that. You think it's funny, but it feels good to be able to go, no, I did it.
Yeah, we felt it was kind of important. It's good for them, and it's good for AMCAW.
Exactly.
So it's a win-win all round.
Yep.
And so this we've done it. We did it retrospectively because we introduced it for the most recent one, but we did it retrospectively so that everybody who won in those categories before also got one.
Nice.
Yeah. So we thought it was only fair to do that.
Yep.
So one of the prizes that we have implemented in the last challenge we had was expert consultations. This is an incredibly valuable prize, and what we've got here, you can see, there's a lot of top artists here.
Mm-hmm.
They've all volunteered to give 2-hour consultation by Zoom. So a video consultation to the winners. So the winners, the category winners, and the People's Choice winner get their choice. They can choose whichever one of these artists they want to have a 2-hour session with, and that can be of any subject that they want, effectively. And this is this 2-hour session can be all in one go. So it could be like 1 2-hour session if you've got a project or something like that you want to work on, or it can be divided down however you want to, and that's the discussion that goes on between the winner and the expert. So for instance, you might decide that you want to have a bit of a mentoring session with somebody, so you might have a half an hour mentoring session and the expert gives you homework, and you go away and you do your homework, and then you come back a week or so later and you have another half-hour session and they give you critiques and mentoring or whatever. So it's so bespoke. It's something, it's an incredibly valuable
that's the
thing,
best. I think that's the best prize ever. I mean, and 2 hours is a huge amount of time to get with someone like that.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great prize.
It's a great prize.
And yeah, and I mean, but on top of that, people, we also have some fantastic sponsors, and the prizes for the next challenge that's coming up, I mean, they are phenomenal. So we've had some really, really high value prizes in terms of things like tools and clay and that kind of stuff. But these expert consultations, I think these are going to be very popular.
I think it's great.
Yeah, so the next challenge, we're going to be announcing the theme of that at the beginning of July, so it's just a week away, and then that will run later on in the year. So the calendar of exceptional work.
Let me move that for a sec.
That's all right. So the calendar of exceptional work, we did this for 2020, and it was a great success. So we decided we're going to do it again for 2021. And again, this is members only. So like the challenges, members only can actually submit something. This is members only. So members are invited to submit images, and that's already happened. And we have 19. So again, we had a jury who looked at those images, and 19 were selected for the next calendar. So it's being designed right now. And it will be, this time we're going to do it by pre-sale. What we did before is we just had some printed. So we had an amount printed, but this time we're going to go for pre-sale. So there'll be a pre-sale which starts in late July through to mid-September, and people can order the calendar, and then it'll be shipping in October, ready for Christmas. So in case anybody hasn't seen one of these calendars, I did a little video of mine. It's a little bit scuffed because I'm using it all the time and I'm showing it to people all the time. So you can see it's not as pristine as they are when you receive them. But you can see here, this is the 2021. It has Holly's frog on the front, and every page has 2, 3 images with some information. We also have events. So of course, this year the events are kind of moot point really, but you can see it's very high quality. It's lovely heavy paper, and we have a sponsor for each page, so you can see the sponsor for each page at the bottom, and it's just a really, really lovely publication. All the members who have pieces chosen, this is the events here. Of course, June events, we haven't got any running, I don't think. All of the artists that are chosen to be in it, a free copy. So they all get a free copy, but a lot of them ordered more than one copy because it's a great gift to give to friends, to family, that sort of thing. So we're looking forward to having this one out. We've got some really great work in there, and I say it'll be available soon.
I think more than ever, I need a calendar now that says what day it is in front of me. So
I think we all need a bit of that.
I know. Like, oh, it's called Tuesday today. Okay, so here we go.
So the conference. So the conference is called Cinta, and it's planned for May 2021. It's a 2-day workshops pre-conference, a 3-day conference, and then 2-day post-conference workshops. So it runs from May the 12th to the 18th, and it's running in Pittsburgh. So it'll be in Pittsburgh at the DoubleTree by Hilton. Of course, at the moment we're looking at contingency planning for that, but the presenter list, and again, the presenters and the workshop teachers, all members. So it was pulled from our member pool, members of AMCAW. It reads like a who's who of metal kind of royalty. Sure. So it's going to be fantastic, and I think, and you know, people coming from all over the world. So I think people will want to be there. It's going to be open to members and non-members, obviously, but there will be a pre-sale period for members, and that'll be later on in the year. At the moment, we haven't got actually a date yet for that to start going on sale, but that'll be coming up shortly.
Hopefully, we'll all be ready to see everyone by then. So badly.
I really hope so.
Yeah, me too.
I really hope so.
Yeah,
I really hope so. So the other thing, virtual guilds that you were talking about earlier on, Alison. Yeah. So we have this virtual guild every quarter, and these are available for members only. They run on Zoom, and they include a live Q&A. So there's always a presenter, and then there's a live Q&A with the presenter, and then there's a member show and tell section as well. So Pam East has done one, Alexander Kraft has done one, he's from Russia, and Thomas Flores from Rio, he's done one, and I've got one coming up in July, Brilliant Bales. So I'm doing all about bales. This is all about the kind of different kinds of bales that you might want to use, why would you use one over the other, how to make them, all that kind of stuff. And then Robert's doing something in October. So these are becoming quite popular. And like Craftcast, once they run live, if you can't make it live, you can go in and watch them afterwards. So they're on the members only area of the website forever. So you can go in and watch them again, watch them as many times as you like.
It's great.
So they're popular too, yeah.
I got a sneak peek of bales, so you want to see it, is all I'm telling you. And I don't lie about these things.
It was good fun to do.
Yeah.
So we have social media presence, obviously, and there's a lot going on with the social media. We've got a really active communications team who are all about the social media. So we've got a members only page on Facebook, and we've also got a public Facebook page. But the members only page gets all sneak peeks and advanced notification of things and all that kind of stuff. And there are preferential prices as well for some things for our members. We've also got an Instagram page, and there's a blog, and we have a newsletter and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot goes on in terms of keeping people up to date with what's going on. And we're looking at the moment at also doing a survey of members again, I mean, just to get from members, are we hitting the right notes here?
Mm-hmm.
What else could we do? What else do you want us to do? What would you like us to be doing? So it's all about engagement with the members, and it's a two-way street. As I said earlier on, we're here for members. We are members. We are metal clay artists. We want to engage with people.
What also it is, it's like there's so many people, especially lately, I've heard about it, where you just need your mojo back. And when you're involved in a group like this, like even coming on today, your mojo sneaks in, and it's really good.
Absolutely. So a couple of things we've introduced very recently because of the situation, the global situation, the artist showroom. So we know that artists are hurting because craft fairs are not going on, shows are not going on, that kind of thing. So we introduced this artist showroom for members, so they can post a link to their selling site on the AMCAW website, and benefit hopefully from the traffic that AMCAW is getting, and also from the search engine optimization, because our SEO is going up. I'm not an SEO expert, but if people have got a link from an authority site like AMCAW, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for their SEO.
It's
this
good
is
all the way around.
Absolutely, it's a win-win for everybody. So this has been recently introduced, and it's public. This is public. People can see it. The public can see it, but it's members only
who can post.
Who can post. Yeah. So any members who have got a selling page of any kind, site, whatever it may be, if you go to the website and you go to the artist showroom, you can actually upload your information right there and then it gets on there. It goes through a sort of through a process, and then it gets onto the artist showroom page.
I love it. I love this little ring right down here. Who is that? Do you know offhand? It's such a nice modern style.
I don't off the top of my head. No.
I have to go look. It's really fun.
Yeah.
All inspiration. Okay, so then there's the business directory too.
Yes.
Great idea.
Yeah. So the business directory is free and open to all businesses. So not only businesses that are members, but this is open to all businesses. And this is for businesses that supply tools or services or whatever to the metal clay industry. And it's not for instructors. It's not for classes and things like that. Our instructors are all members. So we have an instructor page on there, which is all our members. But this is more about things that metal clay artists would want to buy or want to get services. And this again, people can go straight to the website and then they can upload their information.
Oh, sure. We love buying more stuff.
We do. Yep. We do.
All right, here we go, everyone. Want to join, and it's in your handout too.
Yeah, it is. So this is just the general information about signing up. General membership is £60 a year, $60 a year, I should say, and instructor membership is $90 a year, and there are benefits that go along with each thing. So instructors get a bigger benefits package, which leads towards what they would want from an instructor as an instructor. But you can check out everything on the website. We're always looking for more volunteers, so if anybody feels moved to join us as a volunteer, please. Again, there's you can do that from the website, and it's a great community to be a part of. It's very caring. Of course, everybody we're all singing from the same hymn sheet as far as metal clay is concerned. So it's a lovely community to be part of. And as you said at the beginning, Alison, if you're a metal clay artist, this is the place to be. Really.
Oh yeah, it's like a no-brainer. So. And she's right, the people are great. So I just wanted all of you to hear that, people who hadn't, just get the good overview of all of that. So let me just see if we have any questions about joining. Oh, Doree just wants to know if you have any thoughts about selling digital calendars. Other people have the calendars and love them.
Yeah, we've talked about digital calendars. but we've decided to keep it as an actual physical publication at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It may be something that we look at later on. And one of the things about AMCAW is we are constantly looking at
Mm-hmm.
what's next, what
Right.
do we need to do next. We've certainly thought about it, but people do like to have something physical still.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and that's that's where
Mm-hmm.
we go. That's where we're at the moment.
Yep, constantly changing world. All right, you guys. Now Julia's going to show us how to do these roll-up beads, which are my favorite. We do have a free class on CraftCast on how to do roll-up beads, but it's with your Curio silhouette machines. So this is how to do them without the machine, and I love these beads. So a little fun.
Yeah, these are fun, and this is a project that I put in my book. So this is just a little bit about my book, so you can have a really quick look here. The beads are on the front, So
Mm-hmm.
this is a book. It came out in 2017, beginning of 2017, and I've just done an update of it. So it covers all of the different types of clay: lump clay, syringe clay, paste clay, paper clay, and then it's got some chapters about molding, about stone setting, ring making, and beads. And so this is the bead making chapter here, and I'm going to go through this bead. I'm going to show you a few options for this bead. So what this is, I'm just showing you here what that we've got
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of things in here, different types of beads.
Can we order that on Amazon?
You can. It's available from Amazon, and it's available from my own website, but it's available from Amazon. Yeah, definitely, you can get it from Amazon. I guess, and it comes as a Kindle as well. So if you want it as
Hmm.
a sort of an ebook. Every chapter has a troubleshooting section. So I've just done a few little sort of, these are the things that normally happen or normally go wrong with this
Mm-hmm.
at the end of each chapter. And I've just updated it. The publishers have just done a reprint, so I've
So,
just put some updates in
so
there.
if we order one from Amazon, we're getting the new updated one.
Probably, yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to start. The assumption is that people are beginners, but hopefully people will people who know more about metal clay will also learn something from this. So I'm just going to do a little bit of oiling here, and it's very simple. This is very, very simple to make, but it's quite effective,
Mm-hmm.
this bead.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see I've got a bit of a wallpaper texture here. This is I love wallpaper textures. They're free. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
love anything free.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just a drinking straw. So really simple tools again. Nothing too expensive or too taxing. Got a bit of clay here, and this is fine silver. So you can make this in anything you like, but this is
And it,
fine silver that I'm
okay.
using.
Okay. Any clay.
And I made it into a sausage shape, and I'm just rolling it out to a long. What you want is a long, thin kind of roll out. And I'm just going to put this texture on here.
Yeah, that is a great texture.
Yeah, it's lovely, and it goes in all sort of different directions. This one, so it catches the light really quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's silver, it's lovely. So I'm just going to turn it over, so the texture is underneath, and then just cut a straight end, and cut a long triangle. So it's a long triangular shape, triangular shape you want. Because the length, you can have any length you like, but this one's going to go around a few times, so I've got to cut quite a long triangle.
So that's
I'm just using the tooth blade.
about 3 inches,
Something like that,
three and
maybe.
a
Yeah,
half. Yeah.
maybe. Yep, yeah. I mean, the beauty of metal clay is that if it's too short or too long, you can always do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just rolling it really, really gently around the straw. You see how simple that is?
Mm-hmm.
So simple. And just a little dot of water. You don't need paste, just a little tiny dot of water. And this is 3 cards thick. So because it's going around and around, 3 cards thick is absolutely fine for this. And that's it. It's stuck down. So then this is going to go to dry. And I normally suspend it over a cup or something like that. Or I think in the first first one of these we did, the Fun at Ones, Alison, I showed my special tool in that class.
Oh, yeah. You guys don't tell them. They have to go look.
Exactly. Yeah, go and have a look, because I got a very, very, very special special tool for hanging things to dry.
It'll give them a good laugh too.
Yeah, hopefully. So this is the dry bead off the drinking straw, and you could see how it works. You would just refine the ends with a little bit of sandpaper or something, and then it's ready to fire. And these fire torch or kiln really nice and easily. No problem at all with that. So either firing method works. So here's just a couple of pictures, so you can see it a little bit closer up. So these are really popular.
They're innocent but very powerful, I think, in a finished kind of piece.
Yeah, absolutely, and they are truly unisex as well. These make really nice gifts for men as well as women. So I'm going to do another one here, and this one I've rolled this out already, and this one I'm going to just turn it over, and I'm going to. It's a slightly different finish on this one, so rather than blunting the end, I'm going to leave the end curved and just cut the triangular elements on this one with that little curved end at the top. So it just makes the finish a little bit different. And this isn't in the book, so this is why the book shows you the basic one, but this is just a little slight difference here. So I've got a little corner on there. I'm just going to really trim that corner off a little bit, and just make sure that, I mean, you could, if you really wanted it to be perfect, you could use some sort of, just the edge of a cutter or something around that. But I'm just going to leave it, pretty organic. And I'm going to roll it again. So there's no pressure when you're rolling these beads. You literally just roll it around without pressing down, because you don't want to destroy your texture. And I'm going to make sure it's central. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of water on the end here. And just using water means that you don't get loads of paste everywhere, so it's much cleaner. And that little end, you can bend that around if you wanted to, make it a little quirky, that end, whatever you like. And this, so you see the difference. I'll show, there's an image in a minute to show you the difference, how it looks. But it's a softer edge on that end, the inside end, than the hard edge that is on the one that's blunted off at the end. So here's this one, dry. And so you see, it's just that softer graduation that goes up there, and you'd use some, just file that off. But you can see the difference here. So you've got that sharp end. So sometimes I think the curved end is a little bit more feminine, and the sharper end maybe if you were doing something for a man or something like that. So again, you can see here a little bit closer up. And it's got this little nub on the end of the piece there, which I only discovered when it was dry, strangely enough. But I quite liked it. I thought it was a little quirky. I quite liked it, so I left it. And then I've got a picture of the two side by side, so you can see the difference. So these are it's so quick and easy to make. You could definitely do a production line of these without any kind of problem whatsoever. Now, the third one I'm going to show here has got a little ring on it. So it's the same basic process, but I'm just going to show you how to put a little ring on the end, which makes it either a bail, or so it could it could act as a bail, or it can act as a little ring to put maybe a bead or something like that to hang from. And it's just another nuance for this this design.
Same 4 cards thick.
Exactly the same.
Okay.
Yep, three cards, 4 cards, either of those would work
Okay.
fine. Sometimes it depends how heavily you roll, and of course how thick your texture is. So I'm just going to roll this around, but I'm just going to roll it around to, I guess, about halfway down maybe, rather than all the way down. I put a little bit of water just to seal that up there. And then rather than rolling it around, I'm just going to roll the end of this up to form a loop. So it's just tucking it up inside. And again, just water to stick that in place to create this little loop here. And make sure it's making good contact. Just really gently pressing that down. I'm going to try and line it up here to make sure that it's sort of straight. So especially if you're going to use it as a bail, or the bail. If you're going to use it as a bail, definitely it's useful if it's kind of straight across the bottom. If you're going to hang a bead from it, it's quite. I quite like it as a bit quirky. I mean, you could hang anything from that really. It just gives you another element for this rolled bead.
Fun. Okay, and there it is.
All right, and here we go. So again, all you would do once it's dry is just do a little bit of clean up, a little bit of filing around the edges and things, and smooth it, and you're good to go.
There it is.
So it's interesting. I think it's a little bit of fun.
Very fun. Yeah. I think it's great to have little components and then put them together at the end when you just want to play and think. So
definitely.
Oh,
so
good.
Here's another.
Some shiny.
Yeah. Exactly. So again, while it's still wet, you can just press that in if you wanted to, or you could drill. If you made some and you've got them sitting around in your components box, you could just drill a hole for it. You just need to make sure that you've got enough depth so that it's not the point of the stone isn't sticking out down into the bead, because that might be a bit tricky. But it's another thing you can add to it. So they're quite versatile, these beads, I think.
I love that. Did you say about how big a stone is that? Do you remember, Julia?
That's about 3 mil.
3 mil, right? Said. Okay.
It's a 3 mil, yeah. Yeah. Now this one here is shorter. So this is just to illustrate. If you cut your triangle shorter, then it could be just a single rollover. Yeah, so you could see that comparing that to one of the ones that was longer, then it's slightly different. You get a slightly different finish on it, slightly different effect on it, and you can go as wide as you like. So again, what we have is an image of a wider one. If you want to go quite wide, this is quite nice.
I love that.
So really, such a versatile thing. But the process is exactly the same.
All right,
exactly
let's
the same.
take a few questions while I just look at those. Sarah wants to know, did you wet it as you rolled it up?
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. You don't need it. So you just roll it, and the action of doing that, and when it shrinks in firing, it's going to stay together. It doesn't. Nothing affects it. You're just putting that end down, really.
And Janie wants to know, if you torch fire it, do you stand it on its end or on its side? You guys have good questions.
Yeah, good question. I normally stand them up unless they won't stand up. So the very long one, that won't stand up. So with that, if you're going to torch fire it, you need to just nestle it in a little bit of fiber blanket. That's the easiest way to do it. And we did the torch firing nestled in fiber blanket on the charms class that I did for Craftcast. So that just shows how to nestle something, how to torch fire something that's nestled into the fiber blanket to retain the shape.
Yeah, that was great. I can hardly wait to make my shell from that class. Carol wants to know, can you order your book off your website? You said you could, right?
Yes, you
Okay.
can. Yeah, so if you go to my studio site, which is csacj.co.uk, and that you can get that from juliaray.co.uk as well. There's a link that goes through. Then you can buy it directly from my website, and you can get it signed if you want to. If you want to sign it, or me to sign it, or a dedication or anything, then yeah, you can buy it from there.
Love that. I think that with a pot of tea, I'm ready to sit down with that. Amanda said, "Oh, can they slump in the kiln, or would they?"
That they don't. They don't. No. And hollow forms like this don't normally. If you make it too thin, it will
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
potentially.
mm-hmm.
But no, if you nestle it in either in a kiln, if you're doing it in vermiculite, you nestle it in there, or in fiber blanket, in the kiln. It's not going to slump anywhere.
I freaking love
Even three
these.
cards,
Can you get 3 cards? Okay.
3 cards or more. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
3 cards or more. I love these beads, maybe because also I could do it. They were simple, but I made some. So I said, Julia, I said,
Cool.
I finally have something I made. I'm going to put them in to the end of the presentation. But here's also why. I couldn't have done this without Cindy Pope. I don't know if she's also on today. But those were done with the texture and cutting out the metal clay on the curio.
Right,
So you can do it
right.
that way as well. Here was a long one,
Cool. They're lovely.
right? I just had so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
That, like I said,
And they look great. They look great on that on rubber or leather or
right? I thought
foam.
so too.
They're fantastic, and that's why I think it's a unisex design.
Hmm,
You
hmm,
know, this is something you could make for a guy, and he would wear it.
hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I
so
agree.
really
Yeah.
really nice,
It's the
really
exact
nice.
shape that you just described. They're really fun. They're very
Yeah,
satisfying. Thank you, Katie.
yeah.
I made something. Joshua said, "Is that long one a leaf mold?" It sort of looks it, right? Or you used
It's
a
a it's yeah, it's a skeleton leaf. It was a skeleton
oh
leaf rolled into the clay as a texture, and then rolled up. Yeah, yeah.
oh
Skeleton
that's
leaves are
very
fantastic.
cool. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you mean. Julia's already on Amazon getting your book. Is it the 2017 edition, or will they have a correct year when it's ready for Kindle?
That's a good question. I don't know. The publishers haven't shared that with me.
Okay.
But you probably, I think the first publication date was 17, so you're probably getting the new one, I would think, now. But I can't guarantee that. I'm not sure. The ones
Okay.
I've got, yeah, the ones I've got on my website are the ones pre my update. But I mean, there's very small updates in there, mainly about me, to be honest, about things that I'm doing now that I've moved on from, rather than the natural content.
Okay. Ms. Ray, thank you. We learned a lot.
Yeah.
I'm very inspired. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure, Alison. You know that.
I know we have a good time together. Um,
We do.
I know. Okay, and we have the same lists. We can swap our lists whenever we don't want to work on our own list of things. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, write down spring 2020, everyone. Save your money and go over and get more classes, still play. I'm just going to tell you again, where is that picture? I just want to show you. I love uh, Julia's this one here. This is a personal favorite. You know how Amazon says personal favorites? I love these. I thought this is, you learn so much, work with buttons, all kinds of things. Anyway, it's a blast. That's a summertime charm class. So enjoy. And thank you everyone for coming. Don't forget, oh, this weekend is Hadar Jacobson's class. She makes 3D things that actually move. I'm telling you, these people are amazing. That's going to be really fun. And then check out all the other new classes coming up. We'll always have more on the site. We'll send out an email when we're ready again to launch more fun at ones. You know, I love being with all of you. Thank you guys. I know Julia's amazing. I appreciate all your support. Go make something, share pictures, stay healthy, stay well, stay sane is all I have to say for everyone. You're welcome, everyone. Thank you again, Ms. Julia, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everyone.